All right. Let's see if any one of you would have some answers for us here. So I see that. Thank you, Callie. I see Jenny. Yep. And I see Kumar. Good job there. So the first one is going to be $11, and then I have 9. I see that, Natasha. And then you're going to have these two answers. This is a typo. Because anybody find the typo that I have here? There's a typo in number 3. Faith, I see that. Yep, that is true. This is actually a 3x. Good catch. Any question on this before I move on? You really have to master this before I move on. Particularly 3 and 4. Any questions on 3 and 4? Multiple users are typing, and I like that. Why does 4 have -1? Oh, this one here. So if we divide, remember this guy belongs to this and this term and also this term. So you divide the first one, it's going to be 14ab squared over a, which will give you that one. And -a over a, which is going to give you the -1. And Alexia, you're welcome. Do you factor out the a in number 4? Do you factor out the a? You could. I'm not sure if that's gonna simplify. Like it says divide. You're basically you're not dividing when you do that. But let's say that you have a open parentheses 14a. No, it's not gonna be 14. Just 14b. You could, I guess, you could do that. So let's do that here. -1 divided by the a. That's another way to do it. Yep, you could do that. And then you could do like that, which leaves you again with the same answer. Alexia, you also could do it like that. Yes, you're welcome. Okay. Objective, I will be able to use long division and synthetic division to divide polynomials. Long and synthetic divisions to divide polynomials. Please give me a word from the objective in the chat or the live stream. It looks like we're doing good here on the live stream. Yep, looks like we're doing good there. So the link should work, you guys, if you want to link to it. Polynomial, divide, I, synthetic. Yep. We're using this in real life. There is like to determine the theme park price, for example, entry price. There is whatever you pay at the gate. There is a supply and demand, and a supply curve would go like this. Demand would go like that. And where they intersect, this is a demand. Where they intersect is going to be the price actually set. The optimum price. Make money at the same time, have people come. So that's the price is set when you have these two curves meet. So these two curves could also have polynomials in them. So for example, the supply has a polynomial function and the demand has a polynomial function. You divide both of them, you will end up with a point of intersection. In this case, it's the price. So there is a usage for these in real life. There are some other ones as well for polynomial functions. If you could think of another example, share that with us in the chat or in the live stream or whatever you like. Polynomial long division is a method for dividing polynomial by another polynomials of lower degree. It is very similar to dividing numbers. So I'm going to give you I'm going to show you a picture here of dividing numbers here. Arithmetic long division, which we did in the warm-up. You have a dividend be right under the square root I'm sorry, right under the division is a dividend, and then you have a divisor, whatever you're dividing by, and then you have, once you finish, you have a quotient at the top and a remainder at the bottom. Same thing with polynomial long division. We're going to have a dividend here under the division sign, and then we have a divisor, and then we have a quotient. Finally, we're going to end up with a remainder. So exact same thing. The reason we're doing this, by the way, is to find out that there are some factors for our polynomials. So here's another concept here. Another way to look at the concept is I have a quadratic, I'm sorry, I have a cubic function here in front of me, and I want to find out the factors. So we said you could, if you guys remember, factor out something and then factor by grouping, and to chop it down to x squared, because I could diamond x squared. And in this case, you actually could find a way to do cubic functions and also fourth degree by using long division. You're able to find the factors of your polynomials. It might take you a couple times, but you're able to find the factors. Also, the desire is to end up with a 0 as the remainder. That's the desire, because if I end up with a 0 as the remainder, that means these two guys are actually factors. This is a factor, and this is also a factor. And that's the desire, but we don't end up with 0 all the time. So if you end up with 0, consider it as a blessing, which means these two, whatever the divisor and the quotient, if you multiply them together, they will give you the original function to divide this polynomial. So let's take a look at this example. First of all, I have to be in a standard form to divide. So I have to rewrite this in standard form. Second item is I have to supply what's missing. For example, if I put this one in standard form and I'm missing an x or a y term, I have to supply that by saying 0y. By the way, I'm going to do a lot of doodling on the side, so I'm going to just make myself some room here. And let's say I have 0y. How much is this? How much is 0 times y? It is 0. I'm not actually changing the function itself. All what I'm doing is just have a placeholder. So this guy is 0. That's what we have to do here to make this guy in standard form. So I'm going to start putting this in standard form, starting from the highest exponent. And then I pause here for a second. I don't have y by itself. Well, that's why we supply that. You actually put plus 0y. That did not change the value of the function, right? And I'm still in standard form. That's the first thing I do. Okay, I have to do it this way. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So make sure that you do that at the initial step. You put that in standard form, and then you supply what's missing. So I'm going to rewrite it one more time, giving myself more room. I'm going to say 2y cubed minus y squared plus 0y plus 25. And I'm dividing this by y minus 3. This lesson requires attention, so please, if there's any distractions around you, make sure that you focus. First thing first is I'm going to take this, just like in long division, I'm going to take this item here and then divide it by the y, only the y. So I'll go on this side here, I'm going to say 2y cubed divided by the y. How much do you think we get? Yes, Kumar, you put 0, y, because there is no y to the first. Okay, so I'll end up with 2 and then the y squared. And that's exactly what I put on top of the y squared. These lessons require a lot of organization, or you're going to get lost. Trust me, you will be lost. So that's why I was emphasizing some organization skills at the beginning of class. There is a reason. for the madness. So you really have to be organized, or yeah. So it's 2y squared. Now when I multiply, look exactly what I'm going to do. All what I did is start taking this first term divided by this first term, and I got 2y squared. And then once I get that, I'm placing that on top of the y squareds, lining them up. I'm going to have to multiply back times these two items. So 2y squared times y will give me 2y cubed. 2y squared times negative 3, that's the negative 6y squared. Are we doing good? And then I have a long line like that. In long division, you guys remember subtracting, right? We subtract the number from the previous one. In long division, with polynomial long division, I wanted you to do something else, because I could put negative and then put parentheses, because you have to subtract the entire row, right? You subtract the entire row, which about 85% of students forget to do it, and if they do it, they only multiply this, do it by negative, and forget to do this one here. So here's what we're going to do. Instead of me subtracting, which we have to do, I'll just approach it in a different way. So you subtract by changing the sign for the entire row. This is going to be, instead of positive, it's going to be negative. This guy's going to be actually positive instead of negative. So 1, 2, 3, I change the sign. 1, 2, 3, I change the sign. Okay? So let's count together and tell me what you're going to do on 3. 1, 2, 3. What are you going to do? Exactly, that's what I do. I switch the sign, I change the sign. On 3, I have to do that. Again, if you're more than welcome to do the old way of stuff, I'm fine with that. If you're able to retain, I'm okay with that. But that's probably I found this to be the easiest way. Anyways, so there's a couple safety check here for you, safety points. First of all, whatever you end up with at the top here should be 1 degree less than what you started. It has to be less. It cannot be cubed, because you are dividing cubed by 1. You already lose 1 power, correct? So if you end up here with the y cubed by mistake, you know that you did something wrong. That's one thing. The other safety check is for you is these two here will have to disappear. These two will have to cancel each other. If they're not canceling, that means you did something wrong and you have to go back and check. So let's say 2y cubed minus 2y cubed. That should lead me to 0. I should see this term being canceled, gone. This has to be 0, which is exactly what's going to happen here. Okay, so there's two things that let you know that you're on the right track. The degree at the top should be less than what you started with, because you're really losing 1 power. And also the second item is these two things have to be canceled. Whatever the first items here have to be canceled. Now let's go back here. I've got negative y squared plus 6y squared. How much would I get? I see myself looking at 5y squared. And this one is going to drop the way it is. This is plus 0y. This drops the way it is, plus 25. So all I did for long division is to put that in standard form. Once I put that in standard form, I'm going to supply what's missing by 0 times whatever the variable is, 0x, 0y, whatever the thing is. And then start dividing. I take the first term divided by the first term. Look at my quotient. Quotient has to be multiplied back. And I change the sign for the entire row. And then I just add what I have here. We're going to take the same process and apply it again. So I'm going to take, again, 5y squared divided by the y. So on the side here, I'm going to say 5y squared divided by the y. How much would we get here? 5y squared divided by y. That will give you 5y. So right on top of the y's, I'm going to put 5y's. Same procedure. I'm going to take the 5y's and multiply it with my divisor. And that's going to be a 5y squared minus 15y's. Okay, and on 3 I do something. Does anybody remember? I'm going to change the sign. So it's going to be negative. This guy's going to be positive. Looks like a Christmas tree here. So these two guys will go bye-bye, which makes me confident that I'm doing the right thing. And then 15y plus 0y. Well, this is a 15y plus 25. Guess what I'm going to do now? Same thing, Armani. You're going to take the 15y, divide that by y, which will give you just a 15. 15y divided by y is going to give you 15. So plus 15. 15 multiplied back, that's 15y's. 15 times negative 3, that's negative what? Does anybody remember? 15 times 3. There we go. Yep, negative 45. On 3, I do something. Does anybody recall what do I do on 3? I know that I'm being repetitive, but it's on purpose. So this one is going to go away and leaving you with 25 plus 45, which turns itself into a good-looking 70. So how do you write this? By the way, 70 is the remainder, so you probably want to circle that and put R, remainder. So how do you write this down? How do you write the answer? Okay, the answer is going to be equals. I'm going to put the answer here. So it's going to be equal to, I've got 2y squared plus 5y's plus 15 plus 70 divided by whatever the divisor is. What's the divisor? Y minus 3. This is the answer for our problem, for our long division problem. Okay, that's how we do long division. Basically, it's almost the same concept as arithmetic long division with a little bit modification and a few details. All right. Yes. Of course, we need to practice more. So here it is printed. I take the dividend and make sure that I have both are acceptable. And finally, I put the answer in this format. Okay, let's do one together, okay? Let's do this here. It says divide using long division. Divide used long division. So first thing first, is this in a standard form? Is there, after I ask the word standard form, am I missing any term? Doesn't look like it. Everything's there. There's x to the second, x to the first, x to the 0, which is 1 times that. X to the 0 is 1. So now all what I have to do is just start the work then. So I'm going to go here and start my division sign. I've got 15x squared plus 8x minus 12 divided by 3x plus 1. Okay, 3x plus 1. I'll take the 15x. I'm going to make myself some room for doodling here. So take the 15x. What do you think I'm going to do first? 15x squared, divide that by the 3x, which is going to give me a 5. Here we go. Good job there. 5x. So on top of my, this is just, by the way, just kind of cosmetics. You could put the 5x here. Just some people like to put it exactly with the x's, but the other stuff has to be exactly lined up. You can't play with that. So I'm going to take the 5x and again multiply that back by my divisor, and that should give me 15x squared plus 5x. Okay, what do I need to do now? Here we go. I'm going to change this, and that also has to change. And what tells me I'm on the right track here? What tells me I'm doing good? That's correct. Yep, they gotta cancel. These two dudes gotta go away. Like that. And leaving you with 3x minus the 12. Do the same process again. Who's gonna help me out with this one? 3x divided by what? Yes, that's true. 3x divided by 3x, which gives me what, by the way? Oh, that's a good looking one. Okay. So I have basically a 1 here. Let's choose the same color. End up with plus 1. Take the same approach, which is multiply this one back to what our divisor is, and that's going to give me a 3x plus 1. I do something for this. Oh, where did you put the 0, 1 and the first one? Oh, right after the y squared, Alexa. Oh, why? Oh, why? Because it has to be in standard form. And standard form, I have to list things in exponents that is decreasing. So if I start with a 3, that's going to be a 2. Then I was missing the first degree. I was missing the first exponent, like y to the first. So I have to supply that. That's why we added it. You're welcome. Okay, so back here I change the sign. Here's negative, and here's another negative, and that's gonna go bye-bye, leaving me with negative 13. I circle that and put a remainder for this guy here. So this one would be, the answer for this dude will be, got 5x plus 1 minus 13 over the divisor, 3x plus 1. I had hoped to have a 0 here. I mean, if I have a 0 here, that means this guy is a factor and this guy is a factor, and I could multiply them to give me the original polynomial. But that was not the case here. So up until now, that didn't work. The plus 1, I kind of got lost. Where did you get the plus 1? Oh, this one here. So I took the 3, actually it's here. Somebody was asking, where did I get the plus 1 here? So I divided 3x by 3x. This 3x here got divided by this 3x here. Sure. Good questions, you guys. Anybody else has a question here? Anyone have a question here before we move on? So here it is in printed. I divide. Once I divide, the final answer should look like that. Let's do one more. Let's do this one here. First of all, is this in a standard form? Am I missing anything here? Am I missing any? Looking at the second, first, and remember x to the 0 is 1, so it's included here. So that 28 has x to the 0 right next to it, so I'm fine. So I'm good. I'm dividing by that, so I'm just gonna have to make my long division sign. X squared plus 5x minus 28. And that's going to be divided by x minus 3. And what do you think I'm going to do first? If you guys remember, at the beginning of the year, we said 3-column note taking is probably good. And one of the reasons is this. So we just use this column either for questions or for doodling things. So somebody is saying divide x squared by x, which is true. X squared divided by x is going to give me x. So I'm going to end up with x here. I'll take the x and multiply it back by the divisor. And it will give me x squared. It should give me x squared. If it didn't, that means I did something wrong. Minus 3x's. I do what now? Yep, change this sign, change that sign, which is going to give me 0 and then 8 x's minus 28. Same process. What do you think I'm going to do now? What should I do now? What's my next step? I'll take the 8x and divide it by the x. Which should give me just the 8. So plus 8. Oh, come on, Armani. This is a red at the top here. Plus 8. I'll take the 8 and again multiply it by my divisor. 8 times that is 8x. And 8 times 3. 8 times 3 is how much? 24. Which doesn't look like I'm having a 0. It's okay. We're going to live through this. Change the sign. 0. And then I have plus 24 minus 28. Negative 28 plus 24. That's a negative 4. That's my remainder. So my answer would be x plus 8 minus 4 over x minus 3. That should be my answer for this problem here. How are we doing in the live streaming here? Catching up in the live stream, you guys? I see them, some of you there. Good job, Satar. I see you here. Okay, here we go. Right. So, is this in standard form? Is this in a standard form? Is this ready? What is missing? Kumar, anything missing here? X to the what power is missing? Yep, you're right, x to the first power. I'm missing x to the first power. So basically I have to say this is 8x cubed plus 6x squared plus 0x to the first power. Callie, I see that. That looks good. Plus 7. We're going to have to do it in this format here. So once again, 8x cubed plus 6x squared plus 0x plus 7. And that is in a standard form, with me supplying what's missing. And I'm dividing this by x plus 2. So I'm going to again go here on the side and do my doodling here on the side. So I've got 8x. Ali, 0 power would be, Justin, I see that. 0 power would be actually here, right next to the 7. Because I could put 0, x to the 0. X to the 0 is 1. So I do have, basically I have x to the 0 right next to the 7 here. Anyways, 8x divided by x, 8x cubed, will give you x squared. Okay, somebody help me out. Oh, I meant the first. Yes, yes. So I have x squared. Multiply that back. And what would that be? I see also Jordan. Yep, that looks good, Jordan. So it will be x cubed. Is that right? That means I missed something. What did I miss? Exactly, I missed the 8. X cubed divided by x squared. What about the 8? Come on, Armani. So you do not miss the 8. 8 divided by 1 is 8x cubed. So there's an 8 here. What made me actually think twice here? Does anybody recall? I said something, a safety check. Something made me pause here. Like, uh-oh, there's something wrong here. Exactly, they couldn't cancel. And they have to cancel. So I just showed you a very good example of something that I did, and it didn't work. So just have to correct myself. Go back here and fix that. And that plus 16x squared. I do what here? Flip the sign. I'm going to change this sign here. Change this sign here. That's going to get rid of it. Yep, I'm okay now. Negative 16, that's a negative 10. Drop. Drop. Right, same process again. Negative 10 divided by that. That's going to give you negative 10x squared divided by x. That's a negative 10x. Negative 10x. Gen x? No, it's 10x, not Gen x. All right. That is multiplied by both of them. And I should end up with negative 10x squared minus 2x. And I'm going to change the sign, as we said. Change the sign. That's going to go bye-bye. I'm going to end up with 2 x's here, plus the 7. And again, 2x over x. Just give me a 2. Somebody's saying 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. Yes, you're right. It is 20 x's. 20 x's. 20 x's divided by x will give you just a 20. And then you have to multiply it back. So 20 times these here. That will be 20 x plus 40. And I'm going to change the sign. And what would I get here? Negative 33. That's my remainder. So basically what I have is going to be, the answer for this dude is going to be 8x squared, 8x squared minus 10x plus 20 minus 33 divided by the divisor. As simple as that. So that will be, again, a negative 28. Somebody give me the answer. Negative 28 what? Negative 28. Is that right? Negative 8x squared and then plus what? Minus 10 plus 20. And that should be the answer for this problem. Notice also that I always end up with 1 degree less than what I started with. You can't end up with a fourth. Here's another safety check. The final answer is also a safety check in itself. This guy here, you can't have more than 3. Because if you started with 3 and you're losing 1 power because you're dividing by x, then you can't have more than 3, obviously. You can't even end with 3 because you already lost a power. If you already started with x cubed, divided it by x, you can't have more than 3. You can't even have 3 because you already lost 1 power here. Okay, I'm going to move on to synthetic division. Synthetic division is another way to use polynomial division, and it's kind of favored by students and teachers alike, educators. It's a little bit easier to deal with, but since we have to present, though, obviously, we need to present both. Can you end up with 2 degrees or more or less? Yep, you could. But it always has to be less than what you started with. For sure, it has to be less than what you started with. Just let's zero and solve. It's called the A term. So I have to set the divisor. Basically, I have to take this dude here, whatever the divisor itself. This here, I have to take it and set it equal to 0 and solve. So I'm going to say x plus 2 equals 0. This is to find the A term, okay, the A. And x equals negative 2. That negative 2 is the A for you. This is a very important number. Okay, so you do this first. Also, look here, is this in a standard form? Standard form applies, by the way, also for synthetic division. Is this in a standard form? No, it's not. So what is missing? Can anybody tell me what's missing here? Yep, x squared is missing. Thank you. So I basically have to rewrite this as 3x to the 4th minus x cubed plus 0x squared plus 5x minus 1. Now it's kind of ready. It's not perfect, but it's ready. So how do you set this up? Well, again, you put that in standard form, supply what's missing, and then you're going to take the A term that you got. You get the A from putting the divisor equal to 0 and solve. So you put that on the side here. So this becomes your A, and it's going to be on the side here, negative 2. Standing alone here, loner, alone. A lot of loneliness here. And then you only going to, in synthetic division, that's why I said it's kind of favored over long division, you only deal with coefficients. Basically, you just have to see numbers. I am looking at the 3. I'm looking at the negative 1. What do you think I'm going to copy here? If I'm only looking at the coefficients, what would I exactly? 0? How much would this die? What would I get from this dude here? 5, and then negative 1. And make sure you space them out. Space them out. Also, now you leave yourself an empty line. Spot for empty line is going to come here. Numbers are going to come here. And then you have a long line like this. So what I did again, put that in standard form, supplied what's missing, got my a, which again solving the divisor, put that equal to 0, say that equal to 0 and solve for x. This is the divisor, or this is, I should say this is the a term. Let me put that in red. And once you do that, you only copy the coefficients. Leave space them out, make sure it's organized. And the first thing you do is actually drop the 3, whatever this number is. Drop it the way it is. So you're going to drop this, and that's going to be a 3. We're going to take the -2 and multiply it by 3. And then put that diagonally from the 3. So -2 times 3 is -6. That's going to be here. The first number drops the way it is, and then you multiply this a term times that and put that diagonally. Now, what is -1 minus 6? That's a -7. I'm giving you the answer as I ask a question. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to take the a term and multiply it by the -7 and put the result diagonally from it. So what is -2 times -7? Yep, that's a good looking 14. Here's 14. 14 plus 0, well, that's a 14. I'll take once again my a term and multiply it by the 14. -2 times 14, that's a negative, how much? 28. -28 plus 5, that's a -20, hello? 23. Same process again. Take this a term and multiply it by -23 and put that result diagonally from it. That's diagonal here. So -2 times -23. That is a positive number, and it's a 46. You do that, you end up with 45 as the remainder. You circle that. That's going to be the remainder that you have. So as you look, as you could tell, there's no x's involved. There is nothing here. There's no variables. All what I see is just the coefficients. And you write the answer down. So once you get here, you write the answer down just based on what you see here. And remember, you always lose a power. So if you start with the 4th, then this guy has to be the 3rd because you already lost a power. So this is going to be 3x cubed. I'm just copying down the coefficients. Minus 7x squared plus 14x minus 23 plus 45 divided by my divisor x plus 2. And that's the answer for this dude here. So this is like a short, yeah, you could say it's a shortcut. A little bit different method for dividing. In this case, again, we use approach called synthetic division to help us divide polynomials. Here's a key pitfall for student. A main pitfall which is this here. So some students take this as the way that, like, they think a is just plus 2. That is not right. You gotta actually have to solve for a. Solve for a, you earn it. So once you solve for a, this is gonna be the a. That's what you put here. So it's not what you see here. It's not the divisor. You gotta set the divisor equals 0 and then solve and put that there. Let's take another example. Here we go. Divide. Remember, we hope to get that 0 as a remainder. Don't forget that. We were hoping to get that 0 somehow, somewhere in any problem, hopefully. because if we do, that means it's a factor. The divisor and the quotient is a factor. So let's try this one here. This says use synthetic division to divide. First thing first, am I standard form? Yes, we are. Second thing, how do I get the a term? Yep, I'm going to set the divisor equal to 0. X plus 3 equals 0. X equals negative 3. That's my divisor. I'm sorry, this is my a term. Okay, this is the a. All right, so a equals that's the guy that I'm going to take and put right there. Okay, now what's the coefficients I'm going to take here? 6 is one of them. Since I'm already standard form, I'm able just to do it the way it is. Take it the way it is. I've got negative 5. And I also got negative 6. And I'm going to leave myself. What do I leave here? What do I leave here? What is it that I'm leaving here? Why is this here? Yeah, I'm going to leave a line just for me to have room to multiply. What do I do with the 6? Move it down. You just drop it down the way it is. First one is usual drop down the way it is. Is drop down the way it is. So negative 3 times 6 is how much? That's true. And where would I put that negative 18? Right under the negative 5, right diagonally from here. So negative 18. Negative 18 minus 5, it will be negative 18 minus 5, negative 24. I'm going to multiply negative 3 times negative 24. Negative 3 times negative 24 is positive. Negative 24 is almost 25, so I'm expecting 75-ish, a number around that. How much would 3 times 24 be? $72. What is 72 minus 72 minus 6? 66. So I got plus 66. And I'm going to go here and then just write my polynomial. This will be 6x. What if I put 6x squared? Is that right? Is that correct? If I put 6x squared? That's not true. You already have lost a power. If you're dividing x squared by x, you already have lost one power. So it's x by itself minus 24 plus 66 divided by the divisor itself, which is plus 3. That is the answer for this problem here. That is the answer for this problem here. So that's far. Which one you like more? Synthetic or long division? Well, maybe we should vote. Maybe we should vote on this. If you like long division, give me a yes. If you like synthetic, give me a no. Yes for long, no for synthetic. Come on, you guys, give me your opinion here. Elijah, Eric, J. Ricardo, Jenny, Priscilla, Ryan, Taiva. It's interesting. Class is split almost half and half. Very interesting. Okay, we go back here. Satar, is this election on of the divisions? Are you talking about the national elections, or what are you talking about here, Satar? If that's what you meant, that's actually put a smile on my face. If that's not what you meant, that's that's timely. That's nice. Yes, there's a division on election. Okay, interesting. So set the A term, and then when you solve, you will find yourself looking at that amount. Why do we have 63 here? Why do we have 23? Negative 5 minus 18. Is that what we got? Is that what we got here? Let's see if we made a boo-boo. Let's see if we have made a boo-boo. Aha. Look at this. There's a boo-boo here. Negative 5 minus 18. How much is that? That's 23. Ha 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 ha. 23. And this made, was this just a typo? No, it was just a quick typo here. 60 would make this one 69, obviously, not 72, and we end up with 63. So to fix that typo, guys, we made a typo here in the 23. It was 23. Okay, good. At least we're able to fix it and look at that. All right. Let's do this one again. Let's do this one here. I want us to do this problem here. So I'm going to use synthetic. This is standard form, so I will set this up as what would I put here? Six. I've got a 1, I've got a negative 3, I've got negative 18. Okay, let's see what we're going to get for this one here. I got a 1, that's a 6, that's a 3, that is an 18. Uh-oh, look what's going to happen here. What would I get here? What would I get here? Oh my gosh, finally. Woo! Finally, a problem give us a 0. This is me. This is my haircut. Okay. And if that is true, which in case it is true, then look what's going to happen. I have, basically, if we start with x squared, you're going to end up with x. So x plus 3 is a factor. And you have x plus 3 here as a factor. You also have the divisor as a factor. So basically, you could put this together. X plus 3, x minus 6 are factors of what? Of this quadratic. Here we go. Happiest smiley face ever. So if you end up with 0, that means whatever you're dividing by is a factor. And in this case, this here was a factor. So x plus 3 is a factor. And you actually could multiply it. You could use the box to multiply this out. You will end up with this polynomial as an answer.